Hey y'all, it's Michelle and I'm back with video 2, day 2 of our blogging for business free training. And I'm really excited to be here with you. It's a really rainy day where I am, so my hair is up because it was way too wild for me to try to style. But today is going to be one of our most popular videos of the blogging training. And we're going to go into detail about the Boomerang Principle, which I introduced in video 1, but we're also going to get into some really strategic ways to create a content calendar so that you are having your own goals met with your blogging. In addition to the content calendar, the Boomerang Principle, we're also going to cover in this video what to do when you get behind in your blogging, how and when to be flexible with your content calendar, and why consistency is just not the key to making money in your blog, which chances are you already know, right? That's one of the problems that this blogging program is created to solve, because there have been years and years of content pushed at us as business owners about blogging, and much of it is untrue. It points us in the right direction. It pushes us in the right direction, but it's not enough to actually have us reach our goals. So let's start with the Boomerang Principle, right? This is about having a goal for your readers in your blog in general and in your blog post, but also having this built-in boomerang hook that after you serve your readers, it brings them back to you in your business, which is where you get paid, right? Essentially, for every piece of content that you put out, you want it to do X for your readers and Y for your business. First them, and then you, right? It's the give, give, get scenario. But in your blogging, you've got to put in that boomerang hook, or else you're just going to continue to blog and serve, and that's great, right? But sometimes, as I said in video 1, karma is too slow. Right? We want to make sure that we're serving our readers and that it's also doing something for our business. We want to be deliberate about this. And in order to do this, we've got to get to the goal behind the goal. So as an example, people say that they want to blog in order to build their authority. That's a great goal, right? Blogging will build your authority. I mentioned it in video 1. But in order to get the Boomerang Principle at work in our blogging, we need to ask, to what end? Why do we want to build our authority? Chances are it's because we want to build our authority so that people maybe will pay higher fees to work with us, or that we can fill our own events, or that people buy more quickly than they do right now. We want to be specific with the goal and the strategy for our blog. Then we want to put that Boomerang Principle to work in your blogging. We want to make sure that the reader is served, that they get what will serve them, and that they also know what they should come back to your business for, right? That's the Boomerang Principle. In this blog post, you're going to get X, right? We're not going to say it like this exactly, but for us, as we're trying to figure out how to apply the Boomerang Principle to our own blogging strategies, in this blog, you're going to learn how to do X, but you need to come back to me for Y. That's sort of how we want to be thinking about it. There are simple ways to put a boomerang hook into your blog post, right? Simple strategies like email me if you can't figure out where to start. Message me if you've already tried this and it didn't work for you. I know I can help. Tell me what you're still struggling with. Or, for more information about this, then check out this specific product. Those are just a few ways that we can deliberately put a boomerang hook into each and every blog post. But the Boomerang Principle works best when it's really in your approach, not just the words that you use, but in your approach to your blogging. So now, I want to go to that content calendar, okay? I want to figure out how to put that together. The only thing that should be set in stone for your content calendar are your launch dates. If you have product or program or event launch dates, you want to make sure that they are set in stone in your calendar. Add those first. People ask, how and when to be flexible with our calendar, because sometimes this calendar, which was supposed to give us freedom as bloggers, right? It's supposed to like help us plan ahead, help us get ahead, etc. And sometimes we feel imprisoned by it. And so how flexible can we be with our content calendar? And when should we be flexible? And here's my answer to that. You should be very flexible, and you should be flexible always, except during launch dates, right? Because during the launch, whether you're launching a new program or a new location or you're filling an event or whatever, you kind of have standard sort of pre-written content that you'll likely be using, and you want people's focus on that. Other than those launch dates, be very, very flexible. The benefit to your readers when you're flexible with your content calendar is that you write what you want to write about. You write about something that you're passionate about, that's relevant to you and probably to them right then. The benefit is that you're not feeling imprisoned by this content calendar, and so you can write with inspiration. You can change things up so that you are writing with a different energy, right? There is nothing worse, and I have been there. I guess there are a few things worse, but it's bad to be writing a blog and feeling like you're just gutting through it. There's no inspiration. There's no excitement on your end. It's like you put this on the content calendar. You got to stay consistent, and so you write this blog. I am convinced that the readers of your blog know when you've done this, when you've phoned it in, right? When you've just done it because you said that you would. Being flexible keeps your blog authentic and relevant. And then, it allows you to adjust your calendar to meet your mood and meet your inspiration, which allows you to meet your market right where they are. So I want to address the consistency issue, because now we've said, okay, we want to set a content calendar. We want to be very flexible with it. So let's address the consistency issue, which has been, we've been beaten over the heads with that as people who want to blog for business. We're also going to figure out what to do when we're way behind in our blog. Blogging is, first and foremost, a gift to your market. It is not something you owe, and therefore, like taxes, you can get truly behind on. I make no apologies when I don't blog. In fact, I put it out there, and I have it actually on my first welcome page. Listen, if I don't have anything to say, you're not going to hear from me. And the converse of that is that when I do have something to say, you know that it's real, it's authentic, it's likely to serve you. And so people pay more attention, right? I don't concern myself with being consistent. I concern myself with being of service. There's a huge difference there. And I do try to be consistent. I do make an effort to be consistent. But if I'm going to be phoning in a blog post, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to wait and put out better content for my readers. Consistency is part of blogging. It is part of blogging. And sometimes I wish that it weren't. It's not what everybody said it was. It's not a magic pill. It's not that if you blog every day for a year, then you'll reach this status or this number of readers or what have you. It's not that. There is a part of blogging that requires your consistency. That's why the blogging program that I put together has one full day of blogging where we're going to blog together on October 5th. And also, we're going to have weekly sort of dates with our blog and weekly little challenges to keep the love flowing to each of our different websites every week. That will increase our increase our comments, increase our traffic, increase our website ranking. There is a part of this that is consistency. You want to aim for once a week blog post if you are just starting out or if you're just sort of re-entering after a period of absence. But don't kill yourself to keep a schedule. The bigger part of blogging profitably is not consistency, it's strategy. Here are some great ideas for when you feel like, as I say, you got nothing and you don't really have anything to blog about. Here are some great ideas to kind of keep your blog going even when you are overwhelmed or uninspired or what have you. First of all, you want to share a blog post every day, no matter how old it is, right? Social media has a very, very short memory, and we need to share our old blog post, at least one, every single day, because every single day our following and our friends, they're growing. And so this is something that people either, if they read it 4 years ago, they've forgotten about it and they need to revisit it. If they didn't see it 4 years ago, then it's brand new content to them. And so just because you didn't write something and post something that day, share something every single day. Make that a habit. That will continually drive traffic to your blog, and it'll make your readers feel like you've got something new for them every single day. You also want to look and see which of your old blog posts, to me, it's extremely rewarding to find a blog post I wrote in maybe 2007 and realize that everything I wrote in 2007 is still true today. I like to share that. That builds credibility and authority, right? But look for your blog posts and say, okay, which one of these are mainly true still today, 8 years later, 5 years later, whatever, and add a couple sentences and say, the only thing that I can find that is different here are these 2 points. And so you add those 2 sentences, like a 2-sentence addendum to a previous post, and share it again. Group old posts together. Okay, and create one mega post about a very specific topic. So for example, maybe you write about blogging, right? And so you might want to make a post, all you need to know about blogging, all you need to know about X. And what you do is you write 1 or 2 sentences about each of your previous blog posts and link to them in your own blog. People love list blog posts. You might want to, gather all your articles and say, 14 of the best articles about why. Perhaps you go through and you find really quick nuggets that maybe you had highlighted in different blog posts or quotes or whatever, and the 5 best quotes on my website. And these are things that you can do when you feel behind, you're not particularly inspired, or maybe you don't have the time to really research and write a full post. You can create an image on canva.com, canva.com, and with the quote that's most often attributed to you, right? That would be a fun post. Post the image as a post itself. Highlight one of your clients, your members, or one of your colleagues, right? These are blog posts that literally write themselves. Ask them a couple questions, have them answer it. And I even go as far as to say, answer this in first person, answer this in third person. That helps us editing, right? That's a great blog post. Highlight other people in your blog. Ask somebody a question on Twitter. And maybe a celebrity in your industry. Ask them a question on Twitter and then post their answer on your blog. Right? That's something great. These are short blog posts that are literally written for you. Review a movie or a book and align their message with your own. These are quick little tips for when you feel uninspired. And maybe you look at your content calendar, you're like, I got nothing. I do not want to write about any of this. These are some fun ideas to repurpose your previous work and or just infuse your blog with traffic about someone other than yourself and your expertise. It's a really good strategy, which we'll get into later on. But what about that content calendar? First, I want you to create 10 questions that your market is asking and or they should be asking about whatever it is that you do or blog about. Write this down, and then I want you to jot down 1 or 2 sentences to kind of jog your memory about how you should be answering that question. Now, from here we have 10 specific blog posts, right? Next, I want you to go a little bit deeper with each of those 10 blog posts. For each of the 10 questions that you wrote down, I want you to write down a 2.1 topic, right? So here's the question, here's how I answered it, and here's a 2.0 version, right? We want to go a little bit deeper with each of those posts. Right there, you have 20 blog posts that you're then going to put into some form of a content calendar. I use Word for my content calendar. Some people use Excel. But you want to put these in some sort of document. That's sort of a living, breathing document. You're always adding to it. You're always adjusting. You want to schedule these content posts ahead of time. 20 content posts. Give it a date to be published. And of course, be flexible with it. But you always want to start with a date. Your document or your content calendar should have the following columns at a minimum. Okay, obviously a date for it to be posted. A title. You want to have a column for some notes, because a lot of times I'll create a great title for a blog post and then I'll forget what it's supposed to be about. So I always have a place for notes and then a place for a link when it's done. In this way, your content calendar for the future also becomes a content bank for the past. You always sort of know what you have written about. I also have a column for keywords. Right? This is very helpful to me if I want to, go back and create one of those group or mega posts. Because if I have a blog post about blogging, then I can go through my content calendar and find all of the articles I've written about blogging, and it becomes a really easy tool to use. So you always want to have a link there, so you can find a link to the actual blog post. This also helps when you hire an assistant for them to be sharing this one blog post a day. Old blog post. But in my keywords, I also leave room for what I call deliberate mentions. This is something that I do very, very deliberately in my blog and on social media, and also anywhere else that I write. Most of the times in our blog, we sort of have a hope, right? We want to know, we're hoping that so-and-so might see our blog post. We want to get the attention of this person or this editor or whatever. And so rather than writing a blog post that you put your heart and soul into and then sitting back and hoping, oh, I hope that they see this, I use something I call deliberate mentions. And we're going to get more into that tomorrow, but this is one of the best strategies I've used for blogging, is this deliberate mention strategy. We're going to cover that tomorrow, but for today, let's get started on that content calendar. Once you have it done, make sure that you know what your boomerang hook will be for each one of the posts that you've scheduled. Give that some thought ahead of time. You're about to see your blogging take on a life of its own. Tomorrow I'll be back with some really crazy like a fox kind of tips and hacks to take your blogging to the next level, to guarantee that you've got readers of your blog, to increase your traffic, to increase the sales from your blog. So we're going to be doing a lot of those tips tomorrow, very, very specifically, and I hope that you'll join me. So talk to you soon. Bye.